Decrease your golfing lower back pain today. With golf, obviously we're going through huge amounts of rotation, torque, and our spine is getting compressed. With that being said, with every single golf swing that you take, 7 times your body weight goes through your spine. Yes, I said that correctly. I weigh 90 kilos, 7 times 9, I'm not good at maths, but let's call it 630. We need to make sure that we're taking care when it comes to our spine. We want to be mobile, we want to be strong, we want to be in good swing positions. So if this is you, I'm going to give you some quick tips which can help you with your spine today. So let's firstly look at the golf swing. So in a golf swing, we've got the coupling of rotation, extension, then we go back into rotation, side bend, extension, and extension of the whole body. Though, what typically causes back pain in clients that I work with is this extended position with also this side bend and also this hanging back action. What then happens is we get this position where our spine is compromised. So we've got joints called facet joints, which basically sit throughout the spine like blocks. Then you've got the parts on the edge which are like a wing. So when we're going into this side bend position, you can see how my hand's getting closer to the other, where it can compress. So what also lies over the top of those joints is called our quadratus lumborum muscle. They're basically like 2 strips rolling down the back. With those 2 strips, the right side again for right-handers, opposite for lefties, we get this compressed look. So in our swing, we're trying to avoid that at all costs. Why does that typically occur? So sometimes it can be the technical component. If I'm going over the top, a really open club face, I'm not going to go into that position, am I? I'm going to try and close it. So I might try and close it with the body and flip my hands. So then I go into this really extended side bended position and my back feels like crap. What also I look for as a golf physio is what we call reverse spine tilt. So in this posture, we want a good strong rotation and a level rotation. What some golfers do is their trail shoulder starts going towards the target. So what starts to happen is my back goes into this extended position, and at some point I need to get rid of that extension. So if I'm here, got my arms, I'm gonna come in this funky position, right? Where my back needs to extend again, it's side bended. So again, if I'm making my backswing, I'm going into reverse tilt. That already feels crap on my back. I'm going to reverse tilt, and this is exaggerating it too, right? But I need to get rid of those tilts somewhere. So it's going to cause a cascade of compensations to connect back with the ball. What the spine likes is rotation in a smooth fashion. It doesn't like these rapid extension and flexion positions over a repetitive amount of times. And like we talked about, 7 times our weight is going through our spine, so don't forget that. So as a way of compensating for this, we need to obviously be really strong. So instead of making these huge compensations, let's get your back into a better position. So when we're making a rotation, we're trying to keep that club level. If I'm reverse tilting, you can see how that handle is going to get slightly higher. So let's try and keep it level. We don't want to be where that handle is raising too far above my shoulder. Or even better yet, so I've got one of these bad boys, it's going around my lead leg, and I'm going to make a backswing. If I go into reverse spine tilt, I'm probably going to not stretch this band, and then secondly, it's going to pull across my body. I can then get into a rotation if I'm doing this correctly, where the band is barely touching me. If I reverse tilt, it's starting to layer up my abdominals. So I'm a physiotherapist, right? So we go through a number of different tests when it comes to a golfer. I do part of the TPI testing, so get golfers a golf fitness handicap and work out where they're not moving well, where they might be weak, but also part of that is assessing other movements of the spine. So when I'm assessing a golfer, I'm looking at flexion. Can you touch your toes? Then we're going into extension. Can you arch and touch your fingers on your knee crease, which is at this level? If you're only extending to here, you've got a big limitation. And again, going back to our golf swing, we finish in an extended position where our back is arching. So if I've got a really limited amount of extension, what's going to happen? You're going to potentially irritate these joints. These muscles are going to feel tight and sore, and we're going to have a hard time playing consistently over a number of years. So I think of the back, the lower back that is, as the piggy in the middle. It's commonly where you feel your lower back symptoms, but it's rarely the actual cause of it. I typically say with my clients and assess a lot of clients that have golf back pain where the upper back and the hips are the issue. Because if I'm not rotating well from my upper back or my hips, the lower back gets taken for the ride. We want our lower back to be a stable part of our golf swing. We don't want it to be the mobile part. We want the shoulders, so our upper back, and our hips to be the mobile part. So if I'm really struggling with my rotation and my hip rotation, again, I'm going to make compensations to get through the ball, right? The most important thing I think about when it comes to golfing lower back pain is the lead hip internal rotation. There was a study done a little while ago and it looked at golfers with lower back pain. With this study in particular, the golfers that had lower back pain had a lead hip lack of internal rotation. And internal rotation is this action. Because when we're a golfer, if we lack this hip rotation, what can tend to happen is instead of getting into this position where that space is nice and tall, we might compensate. So our compensation might be, instead of this clean rotation, we have to stop, we have to pull back. Because we can't use our hip range, we have to use our lower back to get through the ball. And I see that a lot. That lowering of the right shoulder coupled with that extension in a rapid manner is going to cause some problems. Whereas if you look at golfers that haven't had injuries over a long period of time, like Rory, for example, he's in a position at impact where his core is staying braced, he's clearing, and at the same time, he's staying on top of the ball, whereas he's not getting into this extended position and throwing a lot of loft at the golf ball. So there's some things to consider. So if this is you now, you're thinking, where do I go from here then? I'm going to give you a few stretches because I love you, you've come to the video and I appreciate you. So let's do a few stretches before your next tee time. I want you to use your golf club and we're going to practice our hip separation. So we're working on our hip internal rotation here. We're keeping our torso still and we're trying to separate as much as we can. Feet are neutral. We're trying to open these hips and get the joints limbered up. Number two, we're going to our thoracic rotation. We're turning as far as we can without our hips rotating here. We're trying to really segment just the upper back. So with each of those, you can do it for 10 repetitions, either side, and repeat that twice, both the hips and the upper body. And then lastly, let's get our band back. So let's do some back swings, trying to keep braced. We're trying to keep tension in the abdominals. If we're going into a lot of extension, we're losing a lot of this pressure here. We ideally want to stay flexed, where our spinal muscles are being in a position to function well. If you're extended, the muscles are struggling to work. When they're flexed, we're well braced around the spine. So that's the key with the golf swing. And then we're also going to do our follow through. Same deal. We're keeping our pressure around our abdominals and we're turning the shoulders as far as you can. But if you have any questions around golfing lower back pain, please reach out, leave a comment below. And if you want more stretches, go to my website, www.golfphysiotherapyaustralia.com. You can find my free 10-day mobility guide there. That's going to give you daily access to my custom fit app. Over 1,000 golfers all over the world have been through it, so you're going to love it. Make sure you subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next time, and I appreciate you.